Hello strategy gaming enthusiasts, my name is AlzaboHD, and in today's video we're going to take a deep dive into the worst nations of EU5. These pitiful polities range from incredibly difficult day one wars that are impossible to win, vassals of vassals, economies with zero income, smurf-sized armies that can't siege anything, terrain that prevents you from moving, and everything in between. It's time to put the pain in campaign and cover the countries so horrendously horrible you'll wish you were playing Victoria 3. Starting off our list of cursed counties is the Jarldom of Greenland, a name so ill-fitting that Eric the Red had to lie to get anyone to move there. Don't let the inbred Norwegian nobility fool you. This isn't Svalbard, but with a population slightly larger than that of Chernobyl and an army of 4 Nords, you'll wish it was. Greenland has by far the worst ruler in EU5, an economy based on seal blubber worker shortages and provinces with only one person. As the 1999th most powerful polity, Greenland boasts their own market that contains no building materials or even beer, and with 2 trade capacity and limited range, your nation will lack almost all trade goods and face certain starvation. The asexual Norse population refuses to spawn seed, so you'll need to curry favor with Scandinavia to invite settlers. This mechanic allegedly increases your population, but no one wants to move to Greenland, and you'll likely never get the 5,000 people needed to colonize Nuuk. Fortunately, they do have institutions and a unique reform which allows exploration later on, but with negative income and 0 maidens, a successful Greenland campaign will require you to click the same buttons every 2 years while wondering if you're playing a game or if the game is playing you. War never changes, especially when you start off your campaign locked in a conflict that will result in 90% of your state being yoinked by Turkic-Mongolian Julayirids. Welcome to the border zone of Hamedan, a Farsi-cultured Sunni state that functionally exists as a meat shield between the Mamluks, Iran, the Ottomans, and the Timurids, who will become the strongest state in game within 40 years of starting your campaign. Theoretically, Hamedan has 1,500 soldiers, but that is just a game theory, as your day one enemy has more than 20,000 soldiers who will teabag you and your capital as soon as you unpause. Life under occupation isn't easy, and you'll have to trade everything you own to avoid a game over. But with game settings changed to allow religious conversion, Hamedan can convert to Zoroastrianism and embrace their fate as a landlocked OPM that borders Tamerlane. Topping off the morning with stout and a breakfast of British subjugation is the proto-potato polity of East Breifne and the 8th worst fiefdom in EU5. When you rank nations by starting population, you'll see that only landless banks and Greenland have a smaller population, and when viewed from space, this place looks like North Korea. This landlocked land of 4 drunk men and 2 rabbits boasts a massive military of 20 lads from the pub, and is somehow an unreformed tribe in a continent ruled by monarchies. Any luck these Irish might have had is lost immediately once you realize England is your neighbor, whose vassal alone has 200 times the size of your military. Adding insult to injury is their unique starting government reform of Celtic traditions, which grants you monthly progress to decentralization and a traditional economy, the 2 worst social values within the universalis. The only positive is that these traditions allow you to vie for control over the Irish High Kingship IO, which you'll need, along with 69 locations, to form the nation of Ireland, which boasts a whopping 3 unique innovations. Medieval North Korea's military of 19 men, a post-plague population of 500 villagers, and a landlocked position guarantees a 4-way invasion from all of your neighbors, and you'd have to be either a consul commando or possess a high power level to pull it off successfully. If you want to truly roleplay the Irish tradition of pain and suffering, you could obtain the potato-potato achievement by surviving until the 15th century and selecting potatoes within the Colombian exchange situation, but 9 times out of 10, Breifne will not survive even the age of traditions. It's time to talk pissin' about Papua, a region so isolated and poor that it is ruled by a literal rat king, and his dominion of 3,000 tribesmen, 60 levies, and a religion that worships the boo-boos. Kaimana starts without technology and 0 institutions, but if you wait 200 years, you might get feudalism 1,000 years later than the rest of the world. Old Guinea's geographic isolation means that you are out of the diplomatic range of even your closest neighbors, preventing military expansion, and with an economy based on tuna, you do not have the money nor the population needed to colonize the rest of PNG. Fortunately, the Labubu faith does allow the worship of fertility to increase your population, but a Kaimana campaign largely consists of playing at speed 5 and hoping for RNG events that give you the money needed to get off of your starting island. Despite these difficulties, Papua New Guinea is theoretically possible, and after restarting a few dozen times, I managed to colonize and conquer my way across Southeast Asia by getting lucky with RNG events for money to colonize westwards and hiring transport ship mercenaries to break into Borneo. If you want to see me suffer pain in this campaign, check out the upcoming Kaimana challenge video in the card at the top of your screen. And speaking of challenge, today's video is sponsored by the Octopolis Puzzle and Hungry Minds. You might know about the book covering how to rebuild civilization, but with Octopolis it will be up to you to rebuild the future using 1,000 pieces of precision-cut, colorful puzzle pieces. Completing Octopolis is a proper challenge, and if you're better at puzzles than me, will grant you a vivid steampunk design that you can assemble into a piece of art. Whether you're a strategy gaming enthusiast or a creative mind, Octopolis is the perfect gift for yourself, your fellows, and your dynasty. Order your Octopolis puzzle today and support AlzaboHD by buying your friends and family the Octopolis puzzle, the book, and the last book with a special Christmas discount using promo code ALZABO for 10% off on everything in the store, including bundles. Be sure to check the QR code on screen or the description box below to learn more, and I'd like to thank Hungry Minds for sponsoring today's video. Our next nation is so irrelevant and geopolitically useless that it still exists today due to the fact that Spain and France have forgotten that it exists. Welcome to Andorra, a bizarre Duke-level theocracy that has only one location, 6,000 people, and a militia of 100 pre-literate peasants. It is rare to find a state with only one location in EU5, and with 14 development, it is tied for the most impoverished in Western Europe on account of its bovine-based economy. Forested mountains cover your only territory and give you a massive negative 75% development growth. Foreign powers have literal control over your heir and future ruler, and your grim government form locks you into spiritual values, which prevent humanism modifiers. Andorra is guaranteed by the only nations that border it, Aragon and France, and you can't expand anywhere else due to being land and sea locked from hiring naval mercenaries. Big Blue has 28,000 professional soldiers, Aragon has 18,000 striders, and you have Ed, and Eddie. If you enjoy tax evasion and milk-mongering, Andorra is the perfect nation for your next Nothing Ever Happens campaign, but unlike many of the states on our list, does at least have institutions. Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a native DLC, and at number 5 on our list, the Pueblo polity of Teypana is by far the worst tribe in all of North and South America. This unreformed minor tribe has the smallest population in the Western Hemisphere, has an army of 14 men without weapons, and starts over cultural capacity as only 4 of their 100 citizens is of their primary culture. I'll be honest, I didn't even know there were 1.6 thousand nations in EU5, but rest assured, Tay is at the bottom of the totem pole. Feudalism doesn't exist here, and you'll have to wait until 1912 to learn how to read or write, but at least you can fight your neighbors that outnumber you 6-1. 60% of the time, you'll lose every time, and with an income of nothing, never seen that before, you will never be able to build an economy, but even if you did, your market has no access to building materials. Akuchi Moya, the developers must have felt bad for this Pueblo polity, as it has a whopping 6 dynamic historical events, and if you ever unite pre-Mexican Old Mexico, you'll benefit from 9,000 citizens, 2.5 buffalo, and the opportunity to lose 90% of both once you make contact with Spanish Santa Claus. Our next nation is Chitral, and I'll let the name speak for itself. This mountainous monarchy is surrounded by Shakatai, Delhi, and the future Timurids, and boasts a Day 1 Hindu rebel movement on account of being a Sunni state with 99.9% wrong faith population. You might think that mountains are a good thing. They're defensive, right? Wrong. This terrain grants negative 50% development growth and plus 50% proximity cost, meaning that anything you own will have close to zero control. What Chitral does have is 80 levies, which isn't enough to siege anything, as all of your neighbors have mountain forts. It's even more humorous, as you can't move into mountainous locations during winter, and it's always winter due to the Himalayan elevation. If Chitral manages to secure alliances, it doesn't change anything, as any land they occupy will be taken by them in war, and with friends who swat you, who needs enemies. Any semblance of an economy is upset by the fact that you are in a peripheral position split between 4 separate markets, and if you make your own market with Black Yak and Bookers, you can obtain the It's Just a Business achievement in Iron Man mode. It is a paradox tradition for Lake Victorian nations to be bad, but Wanga is somehow even worse, with an incompetent ruler and by far the worst economy in EU5. You see, the Wangese have a gold RGO that produces absolutely 0 ducats, as you don't have the technology to mine it, but you will get monthly inflation, own nothing, and be happy. I'm not sure if the developers forgot to flesh out the Bantu faith, but there are no holy sites, and only a single religious aspect, Narambe, which gives a sad stability bonus, and absolutely nothing else. There are no institutions within any Lake Victorian nation, and you don't have map vision on anyone that does, so be happy and look at an empty black screen for your entire campaign. Speaking of campaign, or more accurately pain, Wanga borders an Empire tier tribe and a secondary weaker tribe that has 4 times your military. How exactly you're supposed to expand militarily with an economy based on inflation and deprivation is beyond my abilities, and perhaps you'll Wanga stronger than me, but if you do enjoy watching pain try, you can obtain the Just a Little More Patience achievement by suffering through this tragedy from 1337 to 1836. Imagine a Wales without coal, without sheep, and an economy based on starvation, and you have the Lordship of Denbigh at number 2 on our list. This dingy domain produces only clay, the worst RGO in the game, has only 47 levies, and is a vassal of Wales, which is a subject of England.
Oh my God.
Your ruler is also the PU sovereign of the Isle of Man, but this will only give you a few boats, and your finances are so bad you'll be asking, "Please sir, can I have some more?" Declaring independence from Wales requires a spy network in England, but within 12 months they'll outright annex you into a game over, which means no CB war is your only option. Functionally speaking, you have 1 year before they start annexing you, and another 1 year before you are annexed, which gives you only 2 years to wage a war you can't win without any allies. At this point, we'll appoint anyone general that hasn't run away and bade Sir Roger good luck in his future as a prisoner of war. According to Europa lore, the Denbigh people will only be remembered in a museum where the scholars will study their failure, but I've never heard of that museum, and it doesn't sound that interesting. It's Tonga time for a nation so bad that many players had never heard of it in real life, much less seen it within the campaign of a normal EU5 game. Even finding this place is basically impossible, as only Samoa is somewhat visible, logical as the dev who made it forgot they added it in the first place. This island monarchy has to be the most isolated country in the world, and has no institutions nor vision on anything or anyone that knows even feudalism. Theoretically, their Wayfinder's government reform sounds like fun, as it allows exploration without modern innovations, but with an economy of seashell mongers, you'll never be able to afford anything except seawater and scurvy. Even with ultra graphics enabled, the developers forgot to add art assets to the topography, forcing you to play in PS1 mode. The Tongolese army is slightly stronger than that of Samoa, but without a navy nor the capability of creating one, that means less than nothing, and that's exactly what your market gives you, nothing. You have no iron, no wood, nor any ability to make a building in a market that is worth literally 0 ducats. This nation is so unbearably boring that you could spend an entire game without seeing any other nation, so I'd suggest waiting for global warming so that the sea level can rise and send Tonga to Cthulhu. With over 1,000 nations, EU5 contains countless countries that couldn't quite make the cut, so I'd like to cover these honorable mentions. The Maldives are yet another island nation with no economy and no institutions, but at least they are better than Dalek. This Ethiopian island has only 3,000 citizens and borders the pirates of Somalia and the Mamlukian superpower. Most New World North and South American tribes are horrendous, except the Nahua, Maya, Inca, and Haudenosaunee, as all suffer from near-zero development and feature a population that will reduce by 90% upon contact with the Europeans. In East Asia, the Yuan dynasty is deceptively terrible, as despite their starting position as the most populous polity, they are destined to explode via event, without substantial player intervention. Finally, the bank-based nations without physical locations are viable but not very fun. If they become more interesting in a future DLC, we could revisit the topic in a future top 10 video, but for now, there's nothing to do but build buildings. How fun. Be sure to let me know in the comment box below if I missed any difficult or downright disastrous domains. Support AlzaboHD for free by liking this video and subscribing to the channel, which lets me know if you'd like to see more top 10 EU5 content like this in the future. This video was sponsored by Octopolis and Hungry Minds, and if you'd like to support me even further, please consider becoming a channel member or a patron for bonuses like early access to future videos and your name in the credits. Population EU.